All right, frequently missed questions from pages 3 and 4. The first one, number 2. I asked what shape is the base of this prism. Remember that for a prism, you have to find two bases. And they have to be congruent and they have to be parallel to one another. So these two shapes were the base shapes and they were shaped like trapezoids. And so then when I asked you to tell me what the formula is for the area of the base shape, you should have said 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times the height. I kind of knew number 4 would stump you. Actually, I referred to it on the previous worksheet. A lot of people have trouble finding the base shapes on this because it's sort of tipped over. And so again, we're looking for two congruent parallel shapes. And so this was a triangular prism. Triangular. And once you know that the base is a triangle, remember that that's where we're going to calculate the area from, and that's what we're going to calculate the perimeter of, is the triangles. So to find the area of one of those triangles, luckily they were right triangles, so we can just do 1/2 base times height. No problem. That comes out to 84 square meters, area square. For the perimeter, you have to do a little Pythagorean theorem because I didn't tell you how long that hypotenuse was on there. So after you do 7 squared plus 24 squared equals c squared, and you do the hard work, that's going to be 25 right there. So 7 plus 24 plus 25 comes out to 56 meters. So we've got 84, we've got 56, and then one more tricky thing is the height. That's the height of the prism, not of the triangle. So it's not 7. Remember that the height of a prism is the distance from head to toe, from base to base. So how far is it from the back triangle to the front triangle? That's what the 22 is. So again, this is laying down on its back, so it's hard to tell you that, but the height of the prism is the 22. Once you get those plugged in, 2b plus ph and b times h, you should get all the right numbers. Remember that our areas are square meters, volume cubic meters, and these are just lengths, so those are both just meters. And I figured out what the common mistake was on number 7. A lot of you put this as the volume, which is correct if you include the volume of the center courtyard. You did the 1/2 apothem times perimeter nicely. The height is 77, but it said not to include the center courtyard. So what you need to do is you need to find the volume of the center courtyard and subtract that off. So the volume of the center courtyard, they already gave us the area of the base shape in the courtyard. And the height in the courtyard is still 77 feet. So if you multiply those together, you're going to get the volume of just the courtyard. It's 1,677,0600. So that's just the courtyard. So I want to subtract that off of this volume because I don't want to include that. So I'm going to subtract that off. And I get the volume of just the building, the Pentagon. Oh, still over there. I mean, it's still a big old building, but if you include the courtyard, that would be even more. And for the next question, we are not going to heat the courtyard. And then number 11, remember that to be a prism, you have to have two congruent base shapes. So like the Cheerios box has the rectangle on the top and the rectangle on the bottom. Yeah, I'm not a good drawer. And then it has rectangles connecting them all around the sides. So that's a great prism. Same thing with the building. We've got the same shape on the top as we do on the bottom here. And then all these side pieces would be rectangles, so that is definitely a prism. Here's another one. It's got the octagon on the top, yeah? And then it would have an octagon on the bottom. All these sides around the edges are rectangles. Some of you said the Mountain Dew can. The only problem with that is that the bases aren't polygons. So that was kind of a fine print thing. This isn't even a polyhedron. So that one didn't count. They call that a cylinder, which is our topic for today's lesson. The cheese, and if you thought that maybe the cheese was curved in the back and didn't say that, that's understandable. But I was looking at it as a triangle on the top and a triangle on the bottom, connected by rectangles around the side. So I said that that was a prism. And then this one is a pyramid, and I think it's a triangular bottom if I remember right. But if it comes to a point at the top, that's a pyramid. So I would only have one base shape here. So that one's more of a pyramid. So just those four. And then I just thought of one more thing I wanted to throw in from your quiz when you were finding area of circles and stuff. I just wasn't real impressed with the rounding capabilities that you have, so let's talk about that. So if we were doing a pi r squared, a pi times 7 squared, I usually figure out the 7 squared, which is 49, and then I take 49 times pi, and it's really important that you use the pi button on your calculator because it's more precise than 3.14. And when I use the pi button, here's my approximate answer. Now, if I asked you to round that to 2 decimal places, that means I'm looking for you to chop it right here, but I want you to round. And so what you need to do is look at just the digit that's right behind the 3, and is that big enough to bump this 3 up to a 4? And this time it would be. So your final answer would be 153.94, and this was an area, so square units. So just really pay attention to your rounding. Make sure you're using the pi button so we're all getting really nice, accurate answers. If you're still struggling with Tuesday's assignment, it is worth getting that figured out. Okay, that prism stuff is going to keep coming back, especially when we try to do pyramids next week, so you'll really want to understand that. Please let me know if you have any questions.